And there's a window that will open to give you a live transcript. Okay. First of all, I welcome you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I apologize. We, in the past, have started the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to no longer do that because most of you, I believe, do not have a flag in your home. So we will suffice with that. I'd like to look for a motion to approve the minutes of April 2nd, regular Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Make a motion to approve the April 2nd minutes as presented.
Okay. Greg, agreed?
Yes, with one question.
Sure.
Now, item number 12, it said Mr. Swan suggested Chris Mayhew provide a proposal on this topic, which had to do with a program a potential program at Crystal Pond this summer, not knowing what the story was going to be with the pandemic. Was Mr. Mayhew contacted?
No, you had brought it up because
Right.
you had mentioned that you had been speaking with him.
Yeah.
So more in response to you, Greg, if you wanted to contact him and ask what he was proposing.
I can do that.
Okay.
So fine. Other than that, I agree with the minutes.
Okay. Unanimous. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see. The next, I would like to seek approval to go out to bid for aggregate material, okay, for the roads, catch basin cleaning, equipment rental, and guardrail installation. This is something that's done every year, and it gives our highway department the opportunity to go out to bids for these materials that are used every year. So I just need approval from the board to go out to bid.
So move.
I'm in. Sounds good.
You hear me? Oh.
Yes. And Chandler?
Yep, I'm all set with that.
All right, great. I also, so unanimous. Okay, I want to discuss and approve fiscal year 2021 budget adjustments. And, oh, here we go. Okay, we had approved on April 2nd a budget proposal of $5,469,037. On April 5th, the Board of Finance approved a final budget, which was $31,373 less. As a result, I sat down with Karen, treasurer, and we went down through what we were going to take from various entities. You have a copy of that. Do you want me to hit the highlights of what we took from what, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, if you can, I mean, is it a lot of line items, Jay?
No. In fact, if each of you have a copy of the budget in front of you, I can cite the page if you want.
Can he see this?
Yes, that's it.
Can you see that, Chandler?
Yes.
You can read that?
It's not in my packet, but.
It was.
I emailed it today because I wasn't, sorry, Karen Fitzpatrick, treasurer at Chan. I emailed it earlier.
Okay, yeah, I'm all set.
Finished.
Yep.
But for those not, in addition to the three of us, I will briefly just go through that. On decrease as follows, page 4 under finance, dues and conferences, we took $800 out. Basically means that the treasury staff will not be going to conferences this year. So $800. On page 11, insurance and benefits, health insurance, we took $2,099 out. And we budgeted a certain amount. We still had coverage, but we had a little bit extra money that we could remove, which we did. Page 11, insurance and benefits, unemployment, we removed $6,000. That's been a safety net that we've had for years, and we have not used it. So we felt that we could remove some of that money, not all, but some. So we removed $6,000 there. Under page 13, we took town planner contractual services. We removed $1,100. There is still funding in there. There is money in there for that service through NECOG. This was extra in case we needed it, but what has happened in the last couple of years is the town planner through NECOG has not gone over their budget. So we figured it was safe and we could remove it. We took on page 15, economic development operating expense. We took $500 back. Page 17, general government open space acquisition. Now, there is still funding in there to finance purchase of open space rights to various properties in town. And we removed $2,500 from that. So there's still money available. If something came up and they needed money, they would have other options to go to the Board of Finance and to seek other funds if they needed them. Page 23, Highway Department recreation fields. We took $5,000. For years, the rec fields has been part of the Highway Department because they do, fertilizer, mowing, general maintenance. Because of the COVID-19 situation, we do not believe that we're going to be doing organized this summer. So anyway, $5,000 there. Highway contractual services, $1,500. This is subcontract work where our highway department has hired outside entities to do work. They still have money in there. It can be used for other things. But we took out $1,500. On page 27, under recreation, $8,000. And what that's going to be is we're closing the town beach this year. And the issue, again, with that is because of the COVID situation, we just can't, it's a matter of a porta-john, trash barrels, constables, etc. We have not offered swim lessons up there already in a couple of years, but we felt if this was the year to close the beach, it was probably the best move. So that's $8,000. On page 28, redemption of debt, school roof bond. This was a special revenue that we had money in there basically for the auditors. They haven't looked at it in 2 years, so we figured we were safe to remove $3,872. There is still money left in that account in case auditors want to come in and look at it. So the total cuts was $31,371. And if you look at the bottom of the sheet, that makes up, so that goes from what we approved as a budget, minus the 31,000 and change, goes down to what was approved the other night by the Board of Finance. So do you have any questions or comments?
Nope, sounds fine.
Okay. Could I hear a motion to accept, please?
So moved.
Okay.
In favor.
Chan?
In favor.
Agree with it? Okay, so that's that is unanimous. Let us see.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
What's the location of the recreation fields? Where's that?
Down next to the baseball field on 169 before you get to the middle school on the left-hand side. If you're going, you get out on 169. And
So it's the middle school baseball field and soccer
No,
field.
baseball field is behind the middle school. Before you get to the middle school, left-hand side is a baseball field.
Right. That's the middle school. That's the middle school baseball field. The one behind the school is the softball field.
Okay.
And the soccer field's back there too. I thought the school did that. Okay.
Sure, go ahead. I'm going to defer to Karen.
I'm Karen Fitzpatrick, treasurer. So just to make things clear, the rec field also include the Senexit Village field and walking trails. There's also a playground there. It also does include the elementary and middle school soccer fields. Although they are on the grounds of those schools, they do the mowing, but the town does the maintenance such as
Right.
fertilizer, aeration, anything that needs to be done. And same thing with, some areas over by the academy. I believe there used to be a ball field in the front diamond, by the commons, that we maintain that. But I mean, any technical town field, you're giving me a funny look. What's that? You,
You talking to me? Are you
Yeah.
talking to me?
yes,
There, I know the field you're talking about. It's right up at the top of the common. That's the best draining field in Woodstock, by the way. Okay, that's the way it is. I know that from coaching there. There was a big disagreement years and years ago about who was responsible for that whole thing,
correct.
and turned out that the town is responsible for it, not the academy. So if we wanted to make that into something up there, recreational wise, that would be fun. We would have control to do that.
You take care of it now. That's what you
Yeah,
just
I
said.
mean, we've been, we could probably confirm that with John Navarro, the highway foreman, but when I was the recreation director for 7 years, that was part of the maintenance. When the academy used the fields, they put their own clay and things like that down, but we still kind of mowed around it and maintained it. I'm not really sure what the arrangement is now. I haven't been in
All right.
for
Okay.
several years.
All right.
So I'm not sure about that, but there are several areas that we do maintain on the grounds of the elementary and middle school that's considered rec fields, part of the town.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Everybody good?
Did we vote
Yeah.
on it?
I guess so. One of the things I want to mention, getting back to the budget, as both of you are aware with the Board of Finance the other night and what we did back in April, there has been, the bottom line, the budget this year, our mill rate remains at 24.5. There is no increase in taxes. And we've just cut here and there. The motion was made at the Board of Finance not to increase taxes. I also want to remind you, this is the third consecutive year it's been 24.5 mils. So people are always complaining about taxes and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we're still like in the lower end of 4 statewide on mill rates. And I believe we're the lowest in Windham and Tolland counties. And I'm preaching to the choir, but I just want to go on the record as saying that. So we did our duty, if you will, to match what the Board of Finance wanted us to do.
Yeah, that's good. I agree. Thank you for saying that. I would feel really good if I know this was on the radio this morning and they were quoting Karen as the source for the information about the budget and all that. But I would feel really good if the first selectman would call WINY early in the morning on Friday and get on the news to say exactly what you just said. Third straight year, held the line on the mill rate.
Okay.
I think that would be really, really well received. But there are people that'll be mad because we didn't go all the way to the limit of Prop 46 and therefore somebody didn't get everything that they needed or wanted. That's true. But I think that the pandemic situation, supersedes all of that, and we held the line, and that's the right move. And I support the Board of Finance for doing that.
The issue is that there are, we made cuts, okay? And I think that the big issue of contention this year is that because of people having hours cut at work, because of people being out of work, and all of these issues, it was not a year to be adding, even a small increase in taxes. So
that's hitting the nail on the head. That's what I think should be said.
all right, and then basically we, the three of us, did what we were elected to do. So
I agree.
okay, again, because of this whole mess, we haven't been meeting. Number 5. I would like you gentlemen to consider adopting a resolution designating the month of April, this is retroactive, as Fair Housing Month. and I'm going to read you the resolution. I believe you may have a copy in your packets. It says, whereas the month of April is recognized as Fair Housing Month, and whereas fair housing is important to ensure all Americans the right to live in decent, safe, and sanitary environment, and whereas fair housing is the legal right of every American, and whereas the town of Woodstock is proud to participate in the recognition and support of Fair Housing Month, now therefore, the Woodstock Board of Selectmen proclaim April of 2020 to be Fair Housing Month in Woodstock, and will reaffirm this each year.
So moved.
Okay, Greg?
Second.
All right, thank you. Okay, number 6 is tax abatements for dairy farms and fruit orchards. I'm going to refer you to the second page. The total amount for abatements is $9,931.06. Now, this is the same as it has been in years past. The only addition is the last one listed is Taylor Brook Winery, and they didn't get their application in, I believe, until last August. So they have added to this, and that's what the total will be for this year. So if you're in favor of these abatements, we're good to go.
Oh, it's on this list. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's a 2-page.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got unique ID, item 6. The first line is outlined in yellow.
Yep.
And
Gotcha.
if you look at the second page, at the bottom, the total is the amount I quoted. And Taylor Brook Winery, I just wanted to mention them because they were the last to be added to this list to receive an abatement.
I'm good with this. Do you need a motion, Jay?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the tax abatements for the dairy farms and fruit orchards as listed in the agenda.
So,
Thank you.
second.
Seconded, beautiful. Okay, thank you. Karen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to want to discuss number 7. Discuss and vote and approve a resolution to grant the Chief Executive Officer the authority to sign the Emergency Management Performance Grant application on behalf of Woodstock. And this is the sheet. It's in your folder. It's section C, authorizing resolution.
Gotcha.
You got it? Okay. Basically, you know, it's I haven't signed it, but you can see that it's been filled out.
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to resolve the grant for the Chief Executive Officer the authority to sign the Emergency Management Performance Grant application on behalf of the municipality.
All right. Thank you. Greg?
Second.
Thank you. Unanimous. Okay, number 8. This is because, well, the thing is, I want to just discuss with you and to vote to change, to change the time of the third Thursday Board of Selectmen meetings to, since we're doing them in Zoom, the time will change from 7 p.m. to 4 p.m. The reason for that is we have conflicts. We have other boards and commissions in town that are only able to meet with Zoom. And because of the technology involved, we can't have 2 meetings at once. Also, for the general population, there are people that may want to attend both meetings. And it's not fair to them because then they're going to have to make a choice between Board of Selectmen or Planning and Zoning or whatever. So at least for the time being in the foreseeable future, I'd like all Board of Selectmen meetings to be at 4 p.m. if they're going to be Zoom.
That's fine with me. Makes
Fine with
sense.
me. Yep.
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
You got a motion?
No, I got 2 fines, that's good. I'm easy. You both said fine, I said fine, we're good.
Well, there is a motion listed in the agenda.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to change the time of the third Thursday Board of Selectmen's meeting to
okay.
avoid the Zoom meeting conflict.
Motion to approve. All right, thank you. Seconded, Greg?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, number 9. This is, you have a copy of the sheet, was either emailed to you or is in your packet. This came about because of COVID, but then I was looking into it, there were some other issues coming up. With the COVID situation, the town hall is locked and it's not available to the public. That's not quite true. It is locked, but it is available. We have emails, we have telephones, many of the forms and things that folks need, they can get online. So basically, we are meeting the needs of our folks in town. One of the concerns is in June, in July, we're going to have tax season. In June, those folks that own dogs have to get dog licenses. So what we decided to do, because of the COVID-19 situation, to keep our citizens safe, but also to keep our town hall staff safe, is we're going to be putting windows in to the lobby. When you come in the lobby, on the left-hand side, you're going to have a service window that would go into the tax collector's office. On the right-hand side, you'd have a service window that goes to the town clerk. It would be very similar to what you see when you go into the bank, not the drive-up, but when you go into the bank lobby. And you'd have a glass partition with a slide underneath. So in a bank, you put your deposit slip, your check, whatever, and you could see the person, they could hear you, but again, there would be that barrier between you. They would send your receipt back out, that sort of thing. But it would be for both, because a lot of folks come in to pay taxes. There are people that mail them in, but there are people that come in and it's the personal touch. So all doors would be locked to the tax collector's office. So it's also a security issue, because there are many people that still pay taxes in cash. So in this way, they'd be able to pay their taxes, get their receipt, get the stamp thing, they could leave. I had mentioned to Greg today when he came in, we have a portico outside in the front of the building. So in case of inclement weather, it's almost like when you go to an ATM outside. And if you go to approach the ATM and you see somebody there, you know, it's like, oh, okay, I'll wait. And you wait. And the person does their business, leaves, and then you go up. That would be the same thing for the tax collector and the town clerk. The majority of work that the town clerk does is dog licenses, permits for the transfer station, and marriage licenses. The only people that really go in there is occasionally you'll get an attorney that's doing research for some legal matters where they go into the vault and look at the records. So in this way, you know, Judy and Christine were telling me that it's like 80%, 85% of their business are the things I just mentioned. So if you can go in and get your hunting license and register your dog right at this window, it would be fine. You know, you give them a check, you're good to go. You get your dog license, you get your fishing license, good to go. Eventually, we're going to move the double doors back and build some sidewalls. So as you come in to the lobby, halfway up the lobby, there'll be a wall there with double doors. So you will only, as a general public, have access to those 2 windows. There will also be a phone there, so that if you need to call the first selectman, there'll be a list on the wall with a phone. So you could call and complain about whatever it is you want to complain about. And in that way, it's going to meet the needs of the folks in Woodstock. It also is going to provide security from a medical point of view, but also from a general security point of view. And I think long-term, this is going to be a good thing to do. We're also going to have a table with 2 computers. One of the computers will be from the assessor's office so that people can go in and find out whatever they owe, whatever the issue is that they do now in the office. They can do that in the hallway, in the lobby. There will also be a computer from the building office. So if you want to go in and apply for a building permit for a garage you're putting up or something, some form from that department, you can do it on that computer.
Jay, you and I walked through this the other day. I think it's a good idea for the reasons that you said, and the safety thing is just as important as the health issue, I feel. But if you're going to get it ready for June, is it possible to get those 2 windows installed by then?
Oh, absolutely. It's called.
Okay, and then for now, we'll just have signage where the doors are going to be moved to? Or are you going to try and get the doors moved all before this?
The 2 windows are the most important. We're going to start that tomorrow.
Okay.
You hear me? I said we're going to start tomorrow. Yeah, we can knock this out real quick. The windows are the keys. We're going to start work tomorrow. The walls and the doors will take a little longer. And yes, we can put a barrier up there to prevent people from coming in. It may be a line of cones. It may be the signs that you've seen when you come in the front door that says, town hall closed, no entry beyond this point. We can just move that sign back. The key things would be the windows, which Linda Bernardi is very concerned. She wants them done by July 1st. And I think we can knock those babies out reasonably quick. The walls may take a little bit longer.
Are you going to have any kind of a security camera in that area? I'm thinking what if a medical emergency occurred with some client there?
Greg?
Yeah.
There is one there.
Okay. And it'll be able to cover that whole area? That's good.
Yes.
All right.
No, it sounds like a good plan. I'm on board.
All right, and you have a copy, I believe, of the estimate, town hall renovations?
You have that, Chandler?
It might have been emailed to you, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Okay, I'm not gonna go through it, I will get it to you. We can email it to you today after.
That'd be great. That'd be fine.
It talks about the scope, like why are we doing it? And then there's a list of materials and labor. The other thing is a lot of this information, we had Paul, our building inspector, do up the initial notes. And he and I kind of worked on it. We also had Dick Barron come in. He couldn't make the meeting we had, but he came in afterwards. He and I went through it. He's fine with it. Anyway, I mentioned specifically what the work is, what we're going to do in specific amounts. Anyway, the bottom line is it's going to be $5,000, and that's labor and materials. And the labor is going to be in-house. So we have town employees who are going to be doing it. Town hall's closed on Friday, and that's why I said they're going to start tomorrow. We've also advised some town hall employees that do work on Fridays, because we're trying to get back to our normal business, if you will, where we had the assistants were off and the department heads were here doing the work. And now we have the assistants coming in on Fridays to do work. And at some point very soon, the end of this month perhaps, we're going to have both in. So it'll be back to normal as far as the number of people that work in the building.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let us see. Okay, we've got some tax rebates, as we always do.
Did you need a motion to approve that or not?
No, I'm just doing it. I'm letting you know.
Okay.
It wasn't a request. The issue is, these are some of the things, the decisions that the first selectman has to make. And again, having been a constable and worked in the town hall, these were areas that I was made aware of in the past, concerns that people had. But especially, as I said, what pushed us to the edge is this COVID-19 thing. We're all running around with masks on and that sort of thing. So it was just to let you know what's going on and that sort of thing. It wasn't a matter of getting approval.
Okay. All right.
Okay, number 10, tax rebates.
To keep it simple, what if I just make a motion to approve the tax rebates as listed in the agenda?
Yeah, sure, you can.
Second?
Beautiful, thank you. Good. Okay, under correspondence and announcements. See, I have a letter from Jonathan Audette from April 24th. He's just notifying us that he would like to resign his position on the Woodstock Conservation Commission. He thanks the town for allowing him to sit on the commission, and he offers the current and future members his best wishes. Jonathan Audette. I would move that we accept it. We will be sending him a letter of thanks for his service to town.
Okay.
We also have the state police report. I'm sorry, I'm going to skip this because we covered this. This is for March, which we covered, I believe, in our April. No, we didn't. It came in late. Excuse me. Okay, this is for March. We did get it after our last meeting in early April. These were investigations. Accidents, there were 8. Investigations, 9. No burglaries, no larcenies. Non-reportable matters, 88. DUI, 0. Traffic citations, 1. And written warnings, 2. So, I would say it's stable, but it's also kind of going down, which is good. Part of this is if you drive around at all, you'll notice that there's less traffic on the road. So I think that there's less people going out, and that's the reason for the drops in a lot of things. The next thing you have that you have a copy of is Governor's Executive Order 7S, Section 6, Municipality Program Election. And this was something I approved on April 14th in conjunction with the tax collectors statewide were given a choice. The choice was to give a deferment to people in paying their taxes or to involve them, the individuals, in a low interest rate program. Consulting with Linda Bernardi, tax collector, and she talking to tax collectors statewide, the vast majority, I would say more than 99%, went for the deferment program because it was easier to manage and it was fairer to the taxpayers, as opposed to this low interest rate program. So I signed this on April 14th, and it was returned. We had to also return, it had to be notarized, signed by me and attested by the town clerk. And there was also a form that had to go back based on this, the governor's proposal for deferring taxes. So that went back.
Just a quick question, not to belabor this thing. It said that right up at the very first paragraph said determination of the legislative body by a vote of the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
Voted and approved on April 14th.
Yep.
We didn't meet that day.
No, we didn't, but because we have not been meeting, some of these have to be sent in by a certain time. And I think if you look on page 2, it talks about the governor, the president, et cetera, and they talk about the period of March 1st. And I think it was 15th day of April. it had to be in. That's on page 2. So we sent it in as soon as we could. It had to be in by a certain time to comply with what they were asking. So there was no way that we could meet because the last time we met was April 2nd.
Great.
And again, Greg, I understand your feelings, but in like our conversation today when you were here, you have to understand that many times the day-to-day needs of the town, they don't necessitate that we have time or the luxury, if you will, of having a meeting. So many times, based on a phone call or an email or whatever, somebody stopping by, I've got to make decisions that are in the best interest of the town. And I would like to inform you as soon as I can, just to let you know what I'm doing. But many times there are opportunities, I don't have the luxury, if you will, of calling a meeting or even calling you on the phone and saying, I did this today. And it's pretty much, you know, how my life is going here. There's a lot that they didn't tell me when I hired on with this outfit. Gentlemen, I believe, if I can find the agenda, I believe that's all that I have. But I know there's opportunities for I found the agenda. Look at that. Okay, that's it for correspondence and announcements. Gentlemen, do either of you have anything else for, you know, to bring up or mention or discuss?
Yes, I'd just like to go on the record stating that I really appreciate all the extra work that you have done, Jay, and the entire staff at the town hall dealing with this whole thing, boards and commissions, transfer station, just all town employees and people associated with the town have really done a great job of stepping up and doing what we've got to do to try and get through this mess.
One of the things I've said frequently, and the general population in town, all right, they have no idea the skills and the support that the town employees have, whether it's the highway department, transfer station, or at the town hall. And they have no idea what goes on here. They just know that they pay taxes and they hope that they get service. But they're very fortunate to have the quality of the folks that work here, all of them. And the teamwork here is unbelievable, much like you see at the transfer station, town garage. The teamwork is great. And boy, I'll tell you, they've been real supportive to me too.
That's all I had.
Okay, any other comments or from the committee?
I hear from certain parties that Bucks is open and that there some significant concerns. And I think maybe Tina may be aware of some of them. Are you, Jay?
Yes, Greg.
Okay.
No, well, let me, you know, Bucks is like the elephant in the room.
Yep.
I don't know if you've ever had elephant ice cream. I haven't, but no, it's, I'm very aware of it. Tina's very aware of it.
Okay.
And I'm fielding phone calls almost daily from a variety of concerned citizens, if you will. It's a contentious situation. And what I've been telling people is I cannot discuss everything that is going on or the plans that we're making or whatever. But it's, I just want folks that are concerned to understand we're not blowing them off and we're not ignoring them. But there's a lot of behind the scenes activity that's going on that will benefit those that are concerned in
Just
anyway,
wanted to be sure that you were aware of that. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's anybody in town that isn't aware of it. Seriously, it's taken on a life of its own.
So somebody wondered if an ice cream establishment like that or something were to open somewhere near Woodstock Hill, that problem would go away out there. Might.
I don't think that you have an ability to open on Woodstock Hill.
Yeah. I didn't make that up. Somebody else.
No, but, you know, the
I-
other issue with this is, and I want the general public to understand, we're very aware of it. There's a lot of things that I'm not at liberty to discuss because, again, it's going on in the background. We haven't had anybody call and say they're very happy to have it there.
Okay.
You know, I know there's a lot of unhappy people and it is a big issue. And we're all very aware of it here.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, we could open this up to public comments. If anybody's interested, you have options, I believe, to unmute yourself if you're watching, you know, on a computer. I believe there's an option to type in a comment. If you want to type in and whatever. We'll wait a few minutes.
I think they can also raise their hand by pushing *9 or *6.
If you hit on your phone *6, that gets the host's attention. I guess the icon shows you raising your hand.
*9.
*9, I'm sorry. *9 on your phone if you want to.
Or if they chat, I'll see it.
Or what?
If they chat.
Or if you can say chat on your keyboard. Okay, let's not all jump in this together with comments. You know what? I'm going to give you about another 2 minutes, just because I think, in fairness, with me, I'd have trouble finding what button to hit, and I'm dying to make a comment. So if you're as technologically challenged as I am, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to, comment. This is a first time out for us. The last time we did this, Chandler and Greg and I were sitting together 6 feet apart, and it worked out okay. Unfortunately, I think this is the way it's going to be, at least for the near future. All of the various commissions and committees in town are going to be meeting this way because they have to meet, they have to communicate. And we're going to be using the Zoom platform. It seems to be best. One thing I will mention, because I'm filling dead air here, is we're working, and I don't have my notes with me, but we're working on our plans for Memorial Day weekend. One of the things that we have done is we've canceled the parade. This is the 40th anniversary of our road race. And because of that, Anthony was doing a 5K in addition to the 10K. And he had a route set out and everything. We had everything squared away with the constables. Anyway, that's all been canceled. And I'm working with the American Legion to come up with a plan. We're envisioning kind of a dignified, not celebration, but recognition of Memorial Day, which would probably involve a rifle team, a rifle squad, doing a volley at the Common, at the main memorial at the Common, with a bugler and the presentation of a wreath that would be up there. The Legion has also mentioned to me they'd like to have some of their guys as an honor guard go to the 9 cemeteries in town and fire volleys there. So we're in the process of fine tuning it, but it's certainly not going to be the normal that we've had in the past with the road race, parades, et cetera. And we're going to get that out to the public as soon as possible. One of my personal concerns is having crowds at the Common, having the public up there. Again, the danger of exposure with other people and and this sort of thing. So we're working on it, and we'll let you know as soon as we firm things up with the Legion.
I see the Woodstock Fair has followed suit.
Yes, it's unfortunate, but again, I expected it. I know Brooklyn Fair declared the other weekend before. They declared, I think last week. Woodstock was this week. People that are not taking this seriously kind of bother me because, you know, they're talking about the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions, and yet a friend of mine is a nurse at a COVID unit up at UMass, and 2 weeks ago she lost a 32-year-old young man, and she was extremely upset about it. And the other thing is, if you look, you know, there's people out demonstrating. They don't want to be held hostage. They want to go out. And, you know, if you want to go out, great, have a wonderful time. You don't want to wear a mask, I don't care. But people have to be smart. And when you look at Oktoberfest in Germany is canceled this year, the running of the bulls in Pamplona is canceled. People are making hard decisions because this is a serious situation. And of course, there's a lot of talk about vaccine. I was with the superintendent of schools today. We were talking about this summer, what they're doing now. The governor at one point wanted schools to reopen after May 20th, and they pulled the plug on that. So school is over for this. I mean, kids are still doing distance learning, but there will be no classroom activity. They don't know what they're going to do in September. Boston University has already canceled the fall semester. Other colleges are looking at it. So nobody knows what the answer is, you know? And of course, they're talking about having a vaccine, but who knows when that's going to happen. So it's not a good situation. Okay, we went about 5 minutes there. I'll talk to our host. Do we have anybody that has interest or is expressed they want to say anything?
No, I don't have. I unmuted everyone for a time. There's no raised hands, and I asked on the group chat if anyone had a question. So. Okay,
I guess that's it. Greg and Chan, if you guys have anything, you know, it's say your piece, or what is it? Say it or forever hold your peace, much like they do at weddings. Do you have any comments, or are we done? Okay.
Ready to adjourn.
Okay, thank you. I'll second that, and good to see you both.
Second.
The time right now is, let's see, it's 4:50.
50.
Okay. Take
All right,
care.
gentlemen, thank you.
See ya.